BlackRock spends record on U.S. political campaigns as ESG fight continues.
Wow.
This is 2022. This means that the gubernatorial elections in many of the states, all of a sudden, BlackRock has a vested interest in all of these things. This is for subscribers only.
You just copy the link on the archive.today.
See. I bet you this is already in there somewhere.
1 year ago. Yep.
And
Ba-boom, bada bing.
There you go.
All right.
BlackRock Inc. is pouring record amounts of money into the 2022 U.S. political campaigns as the asset management giant faces mounting scrutiny over its size and advocacy of sustainable investing. Now, remember, they were doing this same thing in 2020. I just showed you the map. They had connections to every single administration. China, the Ukraine. Nobody knew about Ukraine in 2022. I mean, you knew the name of it. You knew it was there.
Well, I talked about it in 2019.
We have a higher awareness of things like this.
Yeah.
Joe Blow at Starbucks, if you asked him about Ukraine at the time, is that they have the hot women?
Well, they do. They used
do.
to anyway.
Yeah. The company's political action committee contributed some $647,000 to congressional candidates, their leadership PACs, and political parties between January 2021 and the middle of October, according to the most recent public records before the midterm elections on November 8th. That's about 38% more than the committee gave them in the 2020 election cycle, and slightly more than half the sum, $331,000, has gone to Democrats so far this election.
And I bet you 10-1, BlackRock is connected to Dominion as well.
Oh, I know they are. I can show you that connection.
Yep.
Yeah, I can show you that connection through a couple of the names in the BlackRock staff.
Let me just say, are you guys getting pissed yet?
Yeah.
Because I am.
This is all, you think it's a conspiracy. It's a bigger conspiracy than you think.
Yes.
It's Spectre from the James Bond movies. They're literally...
Is that thunder?
Probably.
All right. I'm going to tell everyone out there, if we have a storm, more than likely the internet's going to go out, and that'll be the end of the show. So I'm just preparing you right now for that. If that were to happen, let me check the weather.
Pop is checking weather.
I've had the internet go out already.
Stand by for weather report.
It's partly cloudy. Okay, I think we're good. All right, sorry.
So far, states including Missouri and Louisiana have pulled in more than $1 billion in public money from BlackRock's funds. New York City Comptroller Brad Lander said in September that the firm abdicates responsibility in not pushing corporations to do more to respond to global warming. What was that thing that I showed you on the map about BlackRock pushing?
By 2050, zero emissions.
Yeah.
That is not possible, especially when you cannot control.
Anyway, we're carbon-based life forms. I don't know why anybody talks about this shit.
Well, here's the thing: it's never going to work if you can't get China and India to fall in line, which they will not. They're poor countries. People want to have a better, status of life. Good luck trying to control that shit.
The globalist goal is to reduce the freaking
to 500 million
expendable population to 500 million, and to have a uniform level of shitty poverty. That's their goal across the globe. They want a uniform level of shitty poverty. That would mean raising the Africans up considerably, keeping the Chinese right where they are,
and everyone else comes down,
and everybody else comes down, and your standard of living just goes away.
And you know what? We had a system like that hundreds of years ago called the feudal system.
The feudal system was actually a lot better than you think it was. The average peasant only worked 4 days a week. He was in church 3 or 4 days a week. There was a festival usually at least once a month. And then there were all of the holy days, which were also festivals.
But they were still poor.
But that is a myth pushed by modern education. I've been debunking it now for a couple of
I stand corrected. Give me the information.
Oh, we're going to have
let's do a whole show on this.
Pop goes medieval. We can do this.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to write that
I debunked a lot of that. I went through, I looked at it, and this doesn't look right. Because the illustrations from the period don't match up with the stories you hear in school. The illustrations, they're like having parties, everybody's wearing brightly colored clothing, everybody looks pretty happy. And then you read the stories, and they're like a poor peasants drudging in the mud.
All right.
My name's Thomas.
What about breaking on the wheel? The rat.
I mean, that happened, but that wasn't normal life.
Well, listen, if you're living in a civilization where somebody fucks up
acid and oubliette, okay?
Yeah, and if you're in a cage rotting on a poles, and everyone has to walk
But
by
that
you.
wasn't the normal daily life, though.
But I'm just saying.
You play too much D&D and watch
fucked up.
Willow too often.
I'm just saying it's fucked up.
You've been watching Willow again?
What?
You've been watching Willow again?
No. Well, the original one?
Willow,
And Bardigan in the cage?
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
Willow, you idiot.
No! That's fantastic.
We are going to hell.
Dude,
And that was one hell of a side.
We can break out your medieval weapons for the episode, too.
Yeah.
There we go.
Winning.
So, but Jimmy might actually come on camera for that one, I have a feeling. The company
Maybe.
responded to various critiques with an advertising campaign earlier in the year to explain its business managing money for retirees and brought on additional lobbyists in Texas and Washington to influence policy. Oh, so BlackRock buys politicians in Washington. This comes as such a surprise to me.
No. Our politicians are selling their dignity and sacred honor down the river?
Why would that ever happen? I don't understand.
Again, if you just follow the money, you look at their bank accounts when they showed up and what they are now and how much time they're in office, you can figure it out.
You were talking about how the traders would look at stocks and move things around and like abandon a stock that was doing poorly and keep going on the other ones and this, that, and the other. And BlackRock is evenly distributing its contributions among both parties because Congress is narrowly divided between them in control of the House and is expected to change hands after the November election, says Craig Holman, a lobbyist at the government watchdog group Public Citizen. They're playing the game well, which means they're playing both sides of the fence, which means they own everyone.
Yep.
So if you think it's just Democrats or you think it's just Republicans, these people want one thing. In the case of BlackRock, all of your money.
Yep. They want
In
the
case of
haves and the
WWF,
have-nots.
They want all the power. They want there to be haves and have-nots, exactly.
Yeah. And listen,
And no in between.
the people up there literally look at you as a worthless piece of shit. They're glad to take your money, put it in their fund, and after that, fuck you. Yes, maybe if they fuck something up, you can get the SEC on them, maybe do a large class action where you get pennies on the dollar back.
Yeah.
We need to change how this whole thing works, to have more oversight, the ability to pull these people aside and spank their PPs and not send them to tennis prison, but to Gen Pop pound you in the ass prison.
My old boss, Mark Dreyer, went to white-collar prison.
Yeah.
And was given an ankle tether and forced to stay in his $20 million New York penthouse with his ankle tether.
Yeah. Listen, if you're going to do this kind of evil fucking shit, you need to pay the evil shit price.
By the way, somebody in the YouTube chat hit the medieval thing right on the head, but it's a super chat, so we'll read it then.
All right, we'll read it later.
He nailed it though.
BlackRock executives contribute to the company's PAC, which then decides which campaigns to support. And they also can contribute to campaigns on their own. Think, amongst others, CEO of BlackRock, has contributed to campaigns in this cycle, including those of Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski, who we know is purchased, of Alaska, and Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. So among House members who got the maximum $10,000 donations were members of leadership like Maryland Democrat Steny Hoyer, House Majority Leader, Representative Hakeem Jeffries of New York, the Democratic Caucus Chairman. The PAC also gave $7,500 to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. PAC did not donate to House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy of California or Minority Whip Steve Scalise of Louisiana. Both McCarthy, who is in line to become the next speaker if GOP wins, and Scalise, who are among the 147 Republicans who voted against certifying the Electoral College results, are after supporters of former President Donald Trump rioted on January 6th. I have a hard time reading that sentence because I know it's bullshit.
We were there.
Because we were there. We were there when all this happened.
Well, first of all, let's correct this. I watched it from Virginia, but I was there to watch him talk on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I literally got on the subway and got out of the area.
Yeah.
Because my gut was telling me.
You could smell it.
Yeah, I could feel it. I'm like, oh, this is gonna
I had to wait until the second cordon said it's getting bad, and then I made the call to pull out to pull the
because
protect
I
these
was
out.
not on
You were not
sector.
on the detail.
No, I was not on the detail that day.
Yeah, you were on fourth cordon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was not. Yeah, it was. That was not a riot. I can tell you that right now.
No.
Blackrock's PAC also gave to House members who might be committee chairs in January, including Florida Representative Vern Buchanan, who could lead the Ways and Means Committee, and Representative Patrick McHenry of North Carolina, who serves as ranking member. So there you go. They
Now,
own.
Here's another thing BlackRock can do to influence hearts and minds.
Mhm.
They are a financial firm.
Yes.
Their job is to buy, sell stock to technically make profit for their, clients or investors.
Yes.
They know what they're going to do ahead of time. And all they really got to do is pick up a phone, call somebody on some kind of committee or whatever and go, hey, we're going to buy, 100,000 or 10 million shares of such and such. Maybe, you might want to pick some up. So the person in the government goes, buys the stock.
Yes.
BlackRock makes their move. The stock goes up, 20%, and then they just sell it. They got a 20% profit for doing nothing.
Many of the deals that Pop is talking about go on golf courses,
All the time.
in private country clubs, and at expensive steakhouses in Washington, D.C. None of this stuff ever sees paper. None of it is transmitted electronically. None of it is ever couriered or handed off to anyone. It is all hay.
Word of mouth.
And
Yeah.
that's how they keep their plausible deniability.
Mm-hmm.
I worked Diplo for a year. I carried the colonel's hat and walked around, followed her around and everything. But my job was to listen in on all the conversations around the colonel.
Yep.
And I could hear all kinds of, we're moving some stuff through this port over here next month. And you hear these conversations going on. And of course, I wasn't there long enough to listen to the whole thing. So I had to move with the colonel, but I would hear snippets of this stuff. And sure as hell, all of this stuff that I was hearing was like, it's how the world operates at the diplomatic level.
Yeah.
They don't make paperwork until probably the damn deal has already been done, honestly.
Or if, you have to actually get a license, get through a port.
Yeah.
Or, buy a bunch of stock. You have to fill out paperwork. That's when it starts hitting the books.
Yeah, it's a lot of backroom handshake deals. I'll move a bunch of stuff over to here if you bring in some stuff on this side here. And then they'll do the paperwork and stuff like that and make all this stuff happen.
Only because they have to.
But BlackRock does that and buys politicians that way in these steakhouses and clubhouses. It's how they do what they do. So over here to Open Secrets, Pop found this one I really liked. I forgot about Open Secrets. Little creepy. BlackRock Inc. Top affiliates BlackRock Capital Management contributions $354,246. This is for 2024. First of all, let's make sure we know where we're looking at here. This is 2024. They've contributed $354,246 to campaigns, but stealing from the Thursday show. I always wanted to say that. $740,000 in 2024 and $1,860,000 in lobbying funds.
Mm-hmm.
So math that real quick. That's $2.6 million exactly in lobbying, but only $354,000 in contributions. So that's 8 times the amount.
Let's just talk about lobbying here real quick.
Yeah.
All right. Back in the day when they, you would have the U.S. government doing their thing, and then there would be problems and things would take place, and people would come to the government and basically tell their representative or their senator what the hell's going on. That's basically the beginning of lobbying. Now it's a money game. And once you start throwing around money like this, you're going to start seeing people willing to take the money and turn away their obligation to this country. Because let's face it, AOC, If she didn't get elected, she'd be on a stripper pole right now.
Please no. Please God no.
I'm just saying. All right, please don't make that meme.
Imagine the grooves her teeth would make down the pole.
I know. Oh, God. but here's the thing: is like she, it came from nothing. In my opinion, with her skills and ability, without being elected, she would do nothing.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, she got lucky, got elected. People are like, "Hey, this is what we're doing. Here's some lobbying money, and we can make arrangements to have 100 people put $20,000 in your reelection campaign," because that's what they do.
Now, if I had to guess, here is what I think is going on based on the human community and our counter ops overseas, what we've seen the FBI do with the shooters and everything. I'm going to bet you that these Blackrock lobbying groups have recruiters who go out into the community and look for a specific personality type. And then they ping that personality type.
Barack Obama.
Oh, yeah, maybe. And decide whether or not that person is going to be valid and viable for this position. And
So what
I think AOC is one of those recruits.
The word you're using is malleable.
Malleable. There is the word I am looking for. That is exactly the word that I am looking for. I think they do that. I think they're recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're recruiting. Crenshaw is definitely one.
What about the guy who was banging the Chinese spy?
Oh, Swallowswell. Yes.
I would even say...
Do you know she's dead? Do you know she died?
Of course she did.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
In a plane crash.
Yeah. Terrible.
It's terrible. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. I don't know. And then we have, Gary Peters is the senator for Michigan.
Yeah, same thing.
He's a royal piece of shit.
Yes, he is. God. I have dealt with him on several occasions,
yeah.
And he is a worthless POS.
Yes.
I'll say that to your face, Gary, you little Navy Reserve bitch.
Yep. And he ran against Rocky Roskowski.
Yes.
Yeah, who I personally know, and I would say is...
Yeah, you introduced me to Rocky.
He's a decent friend of mine.
Yeah.
He could be a little bit more, forthcoming with stuff, but, each to his own.
I mean, it's what it is.
Yeah.
We all have all kinds of standards. So anyway, let's take a look at what BlackRock is doing here. Blue is liberal Democrat, red is conservative Republican. Look at this. They are evenly spread across the what the fuck is Nikki Haley doing in there? That's odd.
Yeah. If you ever bet at a racetrack, this is called covering the spread.
Yes.
It's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
It's gambling, but with politicians.
Yes.
How did we get here? This is insane.
It all started long ago in 1897 with a guy named Theodore Herzl.
Sorry, I may have gone down the other hallway there. Hang on.
Anyway, you can see that it's exactly what Pop said. It's covering the spread. They're clearly doing that. Okay, total for 2024 cycle, 354,000. We know this number already. Sources of funds, individuals from the organization, 0.
All right, now hang on.
So BlackRock isn't buying politicians. It's just that BlackRock is buying politicians.
Yes.
That's what this says.
But here's the thing that they do is they find the vote. They get their hands on the voting rolls, which are public knowledge.
Yes.
They look at your voting track record. If you haven't voted in a while, then guess what? You're the guy donating. That guy's going to donate money to the Democrats, and he might not even know it.
So recipients of funds, all the money goes to candidates for the most part. Only 6% goes to leadership PACs, 2.3% to party committees, 527 groups, which is a political funding group, gets about 2.14%. So you've got individuals of BlackRock handing individual candidates wads of cash. What could possibly go wrong? What a peculiar thing.
Well, you could have a country go off the rails. You could have people wanting to get rid of gas-powered stoves for no particular reason.
Yeah.
Or try to push everyone to have a electric car, which is not economically viable because when the batteries go bad in 3 to 7 years, it's going to cost you 30 to 40 grand just
for the battery. Yes.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? Average contributions to members of Congress 1990 to 2024. Well, it was less than $1,000 in 1992. By 2022, we're looking at an average contribution pushing $8,000 to Republicans and around $5,700 to Democrats in 2022. 2024, that drops off considerably, but we're just reaching the election cycle there. That could still spike. But you can see as it goes along there, they look like they're buying a lot more Republicans than Democrats because they really wouldn't have to buy Democrats now, would they? Most of the Democrats are already pushing their agenda, and the Democrats are getting their money from stock kickbacks.
Yeah, I would, or information.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
this is just nuts, man.
yeah, this is crazy. And wait till we do the China Entrepreneur Club show, because it is just as bad and probably worse technically, because it's China buying your politicians as well, and all of the companies that manufacture and process all of your food and lumber and all of your clothes and try to buy anything that isn't from China these days. I bought 2 pans that were made in the USA yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
My wife laughed because I was cheering because I bought 2 pans that were made in the USA finally. So there's that.
Now, listen, it is absolutely insane to me where we can dig iron ore here in the States, transport it to one of the coasts.
Michigan has huge iron ore deposits.
Yeah, put it into a ship.
Yes.
Send it all the way to China.
Yep.
Then they smelt it and do what they're going to do to turn it to steel and send it all the way back here, and somehow it's cheaper than making it here in America. That doesn't really, it's not panning out for me. It's, my brain pan is not really grasping that.
What you're seeing, I believe, is companies like Blackrock want maximized profits. So they take that ore
Mm-hmm.
and they run it through all of these systems and put it on their ships, and they're profiting every step of the way. They're profiting. They own the rails. They own the ships. They own a portion of the manufacturing in China, but the China Entrepreneur Club gets their cut there. Then the process is repeated and reversed. And then when it comes back here, it's the price that it should be. It's not cheaper than an American product. It's the price that it should be, because they've over-regulated the American industry to the point where Americans have to do all these extra things and jump through all these extra hoops and have all these extra safety features. So they have to charge you more for the exact same product. So the Chinese iron, the Chinese cast iron pan, we'll just start with that, is the correct price. And if you want to buy the American one made in America, it's 4, 5, 6 times the price of the Chinese one. And you're like, oh, the Chinese one's so cheap. No, it's not. It's the correct price. That's what I think is going on.
And you're basically, the difference in the price is regulations, taxes, and what have you.
Yes. They regulate and tax American industry to death, and they do it on purpose so that they can have their profit through that huge supply chain.
Yep.
That's all. Every step of a supply chain, somebody is profiting. Blackrock or Vanguard.
Yeah, because they don't,
or
they
Sequoia
own,
or any of them.
BlackRock owns companies across all of the different industries.
Everything.
They own guns, they own appliances, cars,
Yes.
batteries, technology.
Yep.
Everything.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of stuff that they own. We could go through this all day long here, but let's move over to this one here. This is total contributions by party of recipient, and you can see they tend to favor the Democrats a lot heavier for individual contributions, but the Republicans get their fair share too.
Mm-hmm.
Total contributions by source of funds. Again, you can see BlackRock is not buying politicians. BlackRock is buying politicians. Okay? You need to understand that BlackRock is not buying politicians.
That is some circular logic.
BlackRock is buying politicians. Okay? You get it?
Unbelievable.
Holy ass balls.
I'm sorry. I mean, this is the grunt in me laughing at the absurdity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy ass balls.
It's all you could do.
Wait till we can do a pharmaceutical one too. I think I can get my wife to agree. She sold wholesale pharma for years and knows so much just off the top of her head. She's forgotten more shit than most people will ever know. That is as evil as Blackrock, but on the medical side of the house.
But listen, most of our medical shit is made in China and India.
Yes, that's correct.
I mean, what a clusterfuck is that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. That's absolutely correct. And they're part of this whole Spectre organization.
Mm-hmm.
There's like mega pieces of it. This is the financial arm. There's the Chinese financial arm. There's the pharma arm. There's the food production arm. And there's the entertainment arm.
Yep.
And the manufacturing arm.
Entertainment is now propaganda. Please use the right term.
They don't have anywhere near the sway that any of these do.
I gotcha.
But yeah, you get the general idea. You can see the cycles of the contributions by party of recipient here. 2020 obviously was a very big year. Hillary really thought she was going to win and got nailed to the wall by the public. Trump didn't win. The public got sick of Hillary. Okay? And Trump just happened to be the recipient of that, the public getting sick of Hillary.
I was sick of Hillary when she was still sucking Bill Clinton's dick.
Nobody liked her. She's one of the most unlikable people on the planet. Yeah. She's horribly unlikable.
I thought that was Monica's job to do that.
Oh, that probably
Meanwhile, yeah, exactly. She's so unlikable that Monica's taken over the
there you go.
The presidential pecker.
Yeah. And that ruined her life, by the way. So
Lewinsky?
Yeah.
I don't care.
I'm just saying.
I look, this is me not caring. I'm sorry. So last year, something happened that we didn't even really hear about. Protesters started storming Blackrock's Paris office, holding red flares and firing smoke bombs. This was April of 2023, so just over a year ago. Demonstrators forced their way into the buildings that housed Blackrock's offices in Paris Thursday, taking their protest against the government's pension reforms to the world's biggest money manager. Why? Because BlackRock is buying up all the 401ks.
Well, and they want pension reforms because BlackRock is using that money to influence, grease the skids, and what have you. And if they're not making their return, guess who suffers?
Yes.
The people who put their money in their trust.
That's what happened with Detroit PFRS. Yes. I worked that case.
Yep.
I worked that case for that's police, fire, and rescue services, their 401ks in the city of Detroit. The money all mysteriously got spent. And the case was so large that we had a warehouse for the documents and would get bankers' boxes on big carts full of documents that we had to scan and put together everything. It was a massive case, but that was part and parcel of this thing here. About 100 people, including representatives of several labor unions, were on the ground floor of the building for about 10 minutes chanting anti-reform slogans. BlackRock's office is located on the 3rd floor. The meaning of this action is quite simple. We went into the headquarters of BlackRock to tell them the money of our workers for our pensions, they are taking it. Now, when I say BlackRock is taking control of the 401ks, I mean worldwide.
Yes.
Well, Western worldwide.
Because there's no pension in China.
No. Nationwide protests against the French government's plan to raise the retirement age for most workers from 62 to 64 have now entered their 11th day. This was in 2023. The government triggered special constitutional powers to push the controversial legislation through Parliament without a vote. What did that just say? It said that the French politicians were purchased by BlackRock to push this legislation through.
Correct, without a vote.
BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, has played no part in these pension reforms, but workers targeted the company because of its work for private pension funds, according to protester Françoise Onique, a teacher who spoke to Reuters. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, had played no part in these pension reforms, despite owning all of the 401ks. I'm sure that's just something,
Total coinkydink.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.